Hello and welcome to another episode of Chuchu is a Ranker. On today's episode we're going to be talking about Frightened Rabbit. Now Frightened Rabbit come from the cream of the crop of the jangle rock genre. We're talking about bands like R.E.M., The Smiths, The Cure, XTC, Teenage Fan Club. You can hear those bands' influence across all of Frightened Rabbit's discography. But the thing is, like, Frightened Rabbit somehow managed to take those elements and distill them into such a perfect shape that they kind of defined the indie genre for a while. Their second album, The Midnight Organ Fight, proved to be an underground hit, spreading like wildfire by word of mouth, eventually becoming a really truly influential album, inspiring a whole host of next generation artists. Of course, it's impossible to talk about Frightened Rabbit without talking about the tragedy of Scott Hutchinson. Tortured artists taking their own life is unfortunately a way too common story within the annals of rock history, but for me, on a personal level, Scott Hutchinson was really affecting for me because it was the first suicide from an artist that I truly loved. I had all their records and was listening to them contemporarily when he committed suicide, so that really shocked me, in maybe the same way that Ian Curtis shocked his fans when he committed suicide. So yeah, it's a real tragedy. He was so young and talented, and when I listen to his songs, it still makes me really sad that he would do such a thing. Mental health is no joke. Take care, people. So we're kind of kicking off on a downer, but I don't think that can be helped on this particular discography. So without further ado, let's be complete rankers and rank up a storm. These are Frightened Rabbit studio albums ranked from worst to best. First up, we have the band's debut album, Sing the Graves, which was recorded in Scott Hutchinson's bedroom, and it kind of sounds like it. I'd love to eulogize this band, forever and ever, and preach how they have like a perfect discography, how everything is peaches and cream, but I'm not gonna lie, this isn't a particularly good record. It's not a good record at all, in fact. There are literally like two good songs on this, Be Less Rude and The Greys. They kind of just sound like the obvious singles from this thing, and everything else is just kind of an unfinished demo. Like, there are sketches of songs here, but nothing really concrete, nothing really kind of hangs together cohesively. Even the songs that are more structurally complete always seem to end just when they should be getting going. So yeah, I love this band, but unfortunately I can't really recommend this one. It's for completionists only, and to be honest, I always forget about it. Like, when I think about Frightened Rabbit and I think about their debut album, I always think of The Midnight Organ Fight, and I completely forget about this one, but this is actually their debut album. You can't fake that. It exists, it's here, it's not very good, so yeah, guess we all have to deal with it. So The Winter of Mixed Drinks is up next, the band's third album. This record got a real cold shoulder from the music press at the time of release. It was felt that this was a disappointing follow-up to the masterful The Midnight Organ Fight. Whilst it isn't as great as The Midnight Organ Fight, I disagree that this is a disappointing album. This record moved the band's sound away from the variety of The Midnight into a more cohesive shoegaze sound. Now, shoegaze is a pretty niche genre, but one that I personally love, so I was really down for the change. The whole album brims with atmosphere, and plenty of effort has gone into the extra little touches. For example, the intro to The Wrestle, or the instrumental kind of Man, Bag of Sand, or the build-up to Skip the Youth. It really works as a cohesive, almost prog-like experience. Add to that absolutely cathartic epic bangers like The Loneliness and the Scream and Living in Color, and you have an album that is anything but disappointing. Awesome stuff, highly recommended. Pedestrian Verse is Frightened Rabbit's fourth LP. This is the sound of a band turning their catchiness up to 11. To be honest, this album and the one in second place are kind of interchangeable, depending if you're in a light mood or a dark mood. This is easily the lightest record by the band. A really euphoric, jangle indie pop record. Songs like Backyard Skulls, The Woodpile, Holy, and the closing track, The Oil Slick, all rank among the band's catchiest moments. But as is fitting with a band of this kind, the best moments are when Scott Hutchinson turns towards the darkness for inspiration. Songs like December's Traditions or Nitrous Gas bring the sadness hard, and the album's highlight, State Hospital, is an absolute masterclass in build-up and cathartic payoff. Pedestrian Verse is a brilliant album that anyone with even a passing interest in jangle or post-punk should check out immediately. The Frightened Rabbit silver medal goes to Paintings of a Panic Attack. Now this is tricky because a lot of this album's appeal is down to circumstance. This is the band's final album, a band whose singer committed suicide. This record is awash with songs about death, regret, romantic desperation, struggling with demons, and yes, even suicide. So it can't be helped that all those elements gain added resonance in the aftermath of Hutchinson's death. I mean, it starts with a song called Death Dream and ends with Die Like a Rich Boy. There's even a song called Blood Under the Bridge on it. It's admittedly a bit morbid, but there's no question that this album has gained power from the tragic events. Aside from that, there are masterful songs here. I Wish I Was Sober is so heartbreaking that it's reduced me to tears a few times, and 400 Bones is one of the best emotional piano ballads I've ever heard. It's just so romantic and sad. I love this record, and it's a tragic but fascinating epitaph for the band. Was there ever a doubt as to what the top pick would be? The Midnight Organ Fight is a fantastic masterpiece, an easy 5-star record to rank up there with the best of all time. The beauty of this album is its variety. It takes decades of influences and throws them all at the wall in one fell swoop. From the more modernistic stutter pop of I Feel Better and Fast Blood, which echoes Block Party and the Killers, to the Teenage Fan Club / Idleworld musings of Head Rolls Off, to the Smithsian old fashioned, the record feels like a loving ride through everything I've ever loved about indie pop. There are also a couple of the greatest songs ever written on this album. Keep Yourself Warm and Poke demonstrate why Scott Hutchinson is so special. He's that rare kind of lyricist who opens up his gaping wounds and lets you in wholesale. The first time you hear Poke or Keep Yourself Warm, they have that power to stop you dead in your tracks and immediately exclaim, "Holy shit, that's a good song!" Yeah, just up there with any masterpiece you can think of. If you haven't heard The Midnight Organ Fight, just drop what you are doing and go listen to it. It's just absolutely astonishing. It's just a fantastic record. So that's my list, but that might not be the same as your list, so if it's different, please sound off in the comments section and tell me your own personal ranking. Please like and subscribe and all that YouTube jazz. Hang around to the end of the video to see my top 10 Frightened Rabbit songs, and most of all, just keep on ranking.
Keep yourself warm.